Thank you. Okay, so you all can see this, right? Yes, okay. So yeah, we'll get started. This might be a little choppy, but we're gonna just go with it. Okay. So what do you do as secretary? Some of your duties will include completing the monthly report forms or MRF. You'll update the CKI membership update center. You'll make agendas and keep minutes, and you'll be in charge of record keeping. So the monthly report forms, they're due the 5th of every month and during the summer too. And in these reports, it keeps track of how the clubs are doing. So you'll input the number of members, how many service hours you've gotten for the month, how much money you've raised, how many meetings you've had, as well as you can recognize outstanding members. This can be anyone in your club that you want to just put a spotlight on that did something really cool or really special that month. And then also you provide data for district and international goals. So the membership update center. So this is where you will access the MRFs as well as keep your club's list of due paying members up to date. And all officers can access this, but as secretary, you're in charge of the monthly report forms and helping to keep membership up to date. So as well, usually the treasurers help with membership, but you can help out there too. So to register your club members, you contact Kiwanis Member Services here, and you can either email them or call them, and all you need to provide to them is all the names and positions of all the new officers, as well as their preferred email, the full name of your club, and your club's ID. And if you don't know this, you can ask the district secretary treasurer, or here there's like a link of, you can just look up your club and you can find the ID. And so to log in to do the MRFs and update the membership center is you go to reporting.kiwanis1.org, or no, kiwanis1.org. And here you just have to set up your account, and you have to make sure you use the same email that you provided to Kiwanis when you registered your members or your officers. And you don't need to complete a background check there, that will pop up, but you don't have to do that. And then if you are unable to see the monthly report tab, you need to double check that you are listed as an officer through like your president or anything like that. So this is just like a snapshot of what the MRF actually looks like. This is actually the current one that I have access to that like I need to do for my club at the end of March. So you'll see you just put the total number of members who have paid dues, the total number of service hours completed for the month, and the total number of philanthropic dollars raised, and as well as the total number of fundraising dollars raised. And then this is continuing on. It also asks for the total number of general body meetings, number of social events, interclubs, and if you had any Kiwanis family relation events, and if you had any recruitment activities. And then this is where you can put a spotlight on a service project your club has done. Yeah, you just submit everything there. And then this is where you can nominate a member that has done something outstanding that you just want to pinpoint them and show what they've done. And then this last section asks for like anything you need from the district or international level, as well as after this, there's usually some questions pertaining to like the district goals, or like with COVID, there would be questions about like, how has your school responded to COVID? How has it impacted your club? Like questions like that. And it just helps get you and the district like on a level of understanding of what's going on in your club and how you're achieving the district goals. And then after you do all that, you just hit submit. So generally, like as long as you have all the information ready, it shouldn't take you that long to do. Like personally, it takes me maybe 5 minutes to do, and most of that time is completing those things at the end that are more time consuming. But yeah. And then, so agenda and minutes. So your agenda and minutes should include the basic information like date, time, and location. So this can be for any of the meetings, or like if you have e-board meetings, include that kind of information. As well as you have to include a call to order time, so what time the meeting actually starts. And then a roll call, you'll just have a list of who's actually there. And then a welcome or introduction to what's happening, or just, you know, like welcome back to this meeting, something like that. And then you'll have to list the topics that you want to talk about. And it's always good to leave some time for some questions, or if anyone has any recommendations for service projects, things like that, you want to be able to hear back from your club. And then adjournment time. So when the meeting is adjourned, you want to take down the time. And then minutes. In addition to those things I said before, for minutes of meetings, and especially like e-board meetings where you guys are discussing ideas and stuff, make sure to keep note of new ideas and who recommended them. If anyone said anyone that you should contact, write down those things. So when you come back, you can follow up with those people or anything like that. And keep note of action items, so things that you guys want to focus on. And then as well as record votes and motions from the board for things that you guys are voting on. And then for meeting minutes, make sure that you send them out within 24 to 48 hours after your club meeting. And be sure to include a recap of what was discussed at the meeting, as well as any new information from the district or international level, or just if you found out any new information since the meeting happened. So record keeping. So the main thing with that is attendance, and that's to make sure you have all of your members sign in at the beginning of the meeting, or at just at some point in the meeting. So what my club does for that is we have like a QR code that people would scan. When we were in person, we would just scan the QR code and it would go like automatically. So you can track your members by using Google Sheets, and in this you just put who showed up or anything like that. You update it weekly, and you should include a spot showing when the spreadsheet was last updated, but like if you do that through like Google Drive, it does it automatically. So, but yeah. And then membership tracking. So the main part of this is just making sure your mailing lists are up to date. So making sure you have every member included and making sure that everyone is getting the information you're sending out. And then the other thing is like service event signup. So you can do that through, what is that? Like Sign Up Genius or anything like that. Anything that is like most convenient for you. So then the next thing to talk about is sending emails, which some of you might already know this, but just wanted to go over it. So the to section is when you're sending something directly to someone, and this will show up when you send it. And then the next thing is CC, and that's just someone you want to keep in the loop of your email. So like you could be sending an email to someone, but you want to keep your president like up to date, so you put them as the CC. And then the BCC is like where the emails won't show up. So that's kind of when if you want to send something out to members, you put all their emails there, because then you don't have like a reply all situation where it's like going to everyone, but everyone is able to see it. So communication with members. The main thing with that is email, and with the email, you want to make it visually appealing and easy to read. So this, within this email, you want to include things like pictures, GIFs, colors, and like very cohesive fonts and just things like that. Like you want it to be visually appealing to where if you weren't in the club or you didn't make it, you would want to read it. And as well, these emails reflect your club and can get you more members. So make sure that they're very formal, but they can be fun too. Yep. And then be sure to read it over, ensure there are no errors or typos. And there are many different ways to communicate with your members. Like you can use email and Gmail, you can use Remind, you can use GroupMe, and then see if your school has a certain way. So I know for George Mason, we have something called Mason 360, which is where we have like all of our events, like it's like an online platform and we can put in all of our events and send out emails through it. And that's really nice. But we also, George Mason University CKI also has a group me, which is pretty nice, but just find something that fits for your club, but also see if your school already has a way where you can reach more people easier. So this is just a screenshot of an email I've done through Mason 360, which is like our platform, like I said. But like just try to incorporate like some colors, but also make it like neat and visually appealing, as well as I always try to highlight like important dates. So this was about decon, so I wanted to highlight like the dates of when everything was happening, as well as when the deadline was to register. And then the like last part is the link to the registration. So next is tracking member attendance. So you can do this in multiple ways too. You can use Google Forms, you can use a physical sheet if we're actually meeting in person, things like that. Or you can just do it yourself too. You can, if your club is smaller, you can just look at who's there and write it down. But as for your like member list, you want to make sure it's alphabetized, so it's easier to look through and it looks nicer. And after every meeting, make sure to add new members to all mailing and member lists, just so everything's up to date and you don't run into a risk of a new member not knowing what's happening. And then these are just some tips just for like general use for being like an officer and in CKI. And that is to use Google Docs, slides, and sheets to share final documents. The main thing with that is because with like Excel and PowerPoint and Word doc and everything like that, is everyone has to download it to their computer to see it, and in Google Drive you can see everything and it's already there for everyone. And on all your documents, include a spot to show when they were last updated, just so that you know what was happening. And as well with that, you could include like who updated it, but that's not necessary. As well as the title of your document should be specific and include the date / time period. So like a lot of the time it's like school year, so you'd be like 2021, 2022, blank, blank, blank. And then make sure you add everything to your Google Drive. So anything you've worked on for Circle K, make sure it's in the Google Drive for everyone to see. And so that way it's all in one spot and you don't lose anything, or everyone's on the same page, or you don't run into the issue of accidentally deleting something because it's already online. And then that's really all I had, but if you guys have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. And I know that was pretty fast, but I feel like it's pretty straightforward, but I will answer some questions if you guys have them. I feel like it's pretty straightforward. And as well, like I know for when I started my position, I got some training from the officer before me. So like in my club, I got some training from them on how my club does it specifically. So hopefully the same thing happens for you guys, where you have someone in the club where you're taking over their spot and they're showing you what you're going to be doing. But yeah, that's really all I have. Did you have anything to add, Austin? I don't really know what else to say.
I have nothing.
Yeah.
This is really helpful. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Hopefully I did you guys justice. Yeah. I'm gonna stop sharing. So you guys can just chill out for a while, and like you don't have to, like, you can turn off your camera and you can just go do whatever you want until everything's done if you want, if nobody has questions.